Saxon Math, Course 2. We're in Lesson 68 today, and we're going to be dealing with a subject that is going to forever haunt you and the rest of your algebra careers called algebraic addition. Algebraic addition is relatively simple, but there are a couple of concepts that we need to make sure that we understand. The first one being adding opposites, okay? How do you add an opposite? I'm going to give you an example. So I'm going to have a -3, and I'm going to add the opposite of 3. So if I'm adding two negatives, it's going to be even further negative. Because if I have a -3 on a number line, and I add 3 more negatives, it's going to end me at -6, and we could chart that with a number line and demonstrate that, okay? But if I do something like this, if I say -3 minus the opposite of 3, what is the opposite of -3? It's +3. So what I've just determined in my algebraic language is that two negatives like this equal a positive. So -3 plus 3 actually equals 0. So we have to be careful with our language and careful with our vision as to what these problems look like. Let's go ahead and jump right into example 1. And example 1 has one of these problems. So it gives us a -3 minus the opposite of -2. Well, I just said that anything that is a double negative here is actually a positive. So what I want you to get in the habit of doing is rewriting that. Oop, let me undo that. It should be a +2. I want you to get a habit of taking this term and writing that number. Okay? And it still comes out to a -1. We understand that. But I want you to understand what that looks like. Okay? Let's get example 2. Example 2 has the opposite of a negative, okay, -5, and then we're going to subtract a +6. All right, let's deal with this term first. We just said that that is equal to the opposite of -2 is a +2. Okay, let's drop this down. Let's put that in parentheses, okay? -5. And then what do we do with this? Well, they're going to trick you by putting a positive in there, but it's the same as looking at this number, which is the same as this. So it's just a -6. So we have two negatives here, which will equal a -11, and then we have a +2, which brings this to a -9. Because if we're at a -11 on our scale, right, on our number line, and we add 2, that means we go up and 2 over, which gives us -9. There is our answer. So this kind of problem is not really that difficult, but you just have to pay attention. Let's do one more, example 3, and they throw in a -1.2, so they're going to throw in just a little bit different look to this and adding decimals, minus a +1.5. Okay, so it's actually, this +1.5 is really this, which is really this. It's just a -1.5. So let's add both of these together. Okay, 1.2 and a 1.5, and we get 2.7. But because this negative and this negative, we know that it's going to be negative, so our answer is -2.7, and there's our answer. So this lesson, not too difficult, but we just want to make sure that we understand the language of adding algebraic expressions. Okay, if you have any questions, let me know. I will be more than happy to answer them.